Welcome to this broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Awareness session, sponsored by the Institute of Plumbing South Africa and developed by Integrated Health and Safety Solutions. Genius, the ability to turn the complicated into the simple. IOPSA and IHSS Solutions are bringing you a series of BEE awareness sessions throughout 2019, starting with this one, where we will go through the basics of understanding what is broad-based Black economic empowerment and how can BEE affect you and benefit your company. So to start, what is transformation? Well, the dictionary definition of transformation is a marked change in form, nature, or appearance. But I especially like this version of the meaning: a process by which one figure, expression, or function is converted into another one of similar value. Now remember this as we go through the information or the different slides throughout this presentation, because similar value is really the point that we are trying to bring across. It is not taking or removing any value from any other part of our business. It is only converting it to another similar type of value. Now, we are no BEE experts at IOPSA or IHS Solutions. However, the information that we have derived from various subject matter experts out in the industry gives us the ability to give you at least a starting information to understanding BEE and the practical application and benefits for your company. Throughout the presentations this year, we are going to be speaking many in the industry to get you the right information that you need to get you on the path of BEE accreditation. So, if you have any questions or queries, please do not hesitate to get in contact with us at the contact details at the end of this webinar. But what is BEE? Well, in the decades before South Africa achieved democracy in 1994, the apartheid government systematically excluded African, Indian, and colored people from meaningful participation in the country's economy. South Africa's policy of Black economic empowerment is not simply a moral initiative to redress the wrongs of the past. It is a pragmatic growth strategy that aims to realize the country's full economic potential while still helping to bring the Black majority into the economic mainstream. Now, how do we achieve Black broad-based economic empowerment compliance? Well, first we have to understand, why do we need BEE? Previously, BEE sought to right the wrongs of the past. However, broad-based Black economic empowerment aimed at distributing the wealth of the nation across all races and genders. Well, now you may ask, how does this affect you as a business owner? Well, BBBEE is designed to empower disadvantaged groups to participate more equitably in the economy, helping to boost the transformation of society. Yes, each aspect and facet of BEE works like cogs in a machine, helping to smoothly turn the economy around us, increasing its efficiency as well as its productivity, thus opening up a more broader environment for our companies to thrive in. Now, wouldn't you like a company that is not just based on a specific principle or standard that aligns itself with legislation, but also uplifts, skills, and empowers its employees? This is the purpose of BEE in South Africa. Black economic empowerment, or broad-based Black economic empowerment, as it is technically known, is not affirmative action. nor does it aim to take wealth from one group and give it to another. The essence of BEE is a growth strategy. It targets South African economy's weakest point, inequality. No economy can grow by excluding any part of its people, and you would agree. An economy that is not growing cannot integrate all of its citizens in a meaningful way. Thus, this strategy of BEE process also aligns itself with growth, development, and enterprise development, and not just redistributing of existing wealth. As a note, Black economic empowerment is as important as a policy instrument which is aimed at broadening the economic base of the country, and through this, at stimulating further economic growth as well as creating employment. The strategy is broad-based, so it reflects the government's approach, which is to situate Black economic empowerment within the context of a broader national empowerment strategy. In other words, it includes all members of South Africa, especially those who are currently in the position of employment, as well as those who are employers, since you are playing the huge part of growth, development, or enterprise development within South Africa. The only way to achieve growth and success within business is to do it together. Nothing can be achieved alone. So what are the objectives then really of this broad-based Black economic empowerment policy? Well, for one, it is there to empower more Black people to own and manage enterprises. Enterprises are regarded as Black-owned if 51% of the enterprise is owned by Black people, and Black people have substantial management control of the actual business. It is also the objective of BEE to achieve a substantial change in the racial composition of ownership and management structures, as well as in the skilled occupations of existing and new enterprises to come. It also helps to promote access to finance for Black economic empowerment. It helps to empower rural and local communities by enabling their access to economic activities, land, infrastructure, ownership, as well as skills. It promotes human resource development of Black people through mentorships, learnerships, as well as internships. It also helps to increase the extent to which communities, workers or cooperatives, and other collective enterprises own or manage existing and new enterprises, as well as increase the access to economic activities, the infrastructure, as well as its skills. It also helps to objectify BEE within its ensuring Black-owned enterprises benefit from government's preferential procurement policies. Now, you may be asking, am I ticking all of my boxes? Well, this is not just a box ticking objective. What BEE is really trying to achieve is to help everyone understand that the codes of good practice, which emerged in 2007, was to provide a standard. And this standard framework for measurement of BEE was going to be used across all sectors of the economy. In other words, an entire code for BEE had to be designed, and a scorecard to understand how we were going to be categorized needed to come into effect. So these codes required that all entities operating in South African economy made a contribution toward the objectives of BEE, and it worked under two phases. So let's take a look at these two phases. The first one being the code encouraged all entities whether you were public or private, to implement proper BEE initiatives through the issuing of licenses, concessions, sales of assets, and preferential procurement. The second phase of the code covered 7 components of the BBBEE scorecard, and these were ownership, management control, employment equity, skills development, preferential procurement, enterprise development, as well as socio-economic development, which included industry-specific as well as corporate social investment initiatives. And all of this within the code of good practice helped to essentially make a standard framework for the measurement of how broad-based Black economic empowerment would be carried out. This helped us to create a better economy for all. It wasn't just for a select few people. But this strategy had to have elements and points. And in 2003, this strategy had specific points assigned to values of these 7 elements of the BBBEE scorecard. And this is how it worked. Out of 100%, if you were doing your skills development, ownership, or even preferential procurement, these would each count for 20% toward your scorecard. The employment equity, management control, as well as enterprise development would all each count for 10% toward the scorecard. And then there would be a residual 10%. Now, if this doesn't make too much sense to you, we'll explain to it a little bit why it is so important to comply with legislation and then go through the steps of what you need to do to achieve BEE, giving you a little bit more of an understanding of why BEE is so beneficial as well as effective when controlled correctly. For one, the importance to comply with legislation in government helped us to achieve tenders, licensing, concessions, partnerships with government, as well as buying government-owned assets. When it comes to working within our own companies as well as with other partnering companies, this increased our score. It helped us to have preferential procurement amongst different suppliers. It helped us to become a preferential supplier, or it opened up the way to more broadly preferential procurement suppliers within the industry. This all attained compliance to BEE. But at the end of the day, the importance rested on empowerment and how we are upskilling, growing, and contributing to our current economy. So how are you going to achieve this, you may ask? Well, this is the importance of BEE, is to be able to understand the relevance of BEE in South Africa and how getting accredited can benefit your company. This is the first and probably the most important step to take initially. But this is only the start of your accreditation process. A step-by-step procedure of understanding the importance as well as the relevance of BEE will lead you to start by selecting an accredited, reputable BEE verification agency. Again, this next step will only get you partway to being completely within the scope of BEE. Lastly, what we really want to achieve with this step-by-step procedure, whether you are a small company and able to take care of this compliance yourself, it is always advisable to ensure that everything is taken care of correctly. Thus, we suggest a consultation because working with experts will give you the peace of mind you need and it will fill the results that you require. But this step-by-step approach is going to take you to be able to start the application form. So the encouragement from us is to first start with understanding BEE, understanding its relevance to you. And because we are speaking to IOPSA members, we would like to hear from you what your industry is, not just as plumbing, but tell us about you, your company, and how it is structured, so that when we speak to you again in the next up and coming BEE awareness programs, we can tailor make the information that we give you and really assist you as our members to understand how BEE is relevant and how you can benefit with it in your company. So why not take that first step by building a better economy for all? Now, again, you might say to yourself, what do I do now? Well, the first step is always the verification process. And this works on the size and classification of your business, understanding where you fit within the different classes within BEE. This being the exempted micro enterprise, the qualifying small enterprise, or the generic enterprise. And once you have received this classification, which is always determined by your company's annual turnover, you can then move on to the next step. And this is where this expert advice will help you with the entire application, because there are certain requirements that need to be in place in order for you to comply. And once your compliance is there, the accreditation will follow. And there are 8 levels, with 1 being the highest and the most beneficial. But no matter where you are within your percentage, between the level of 1 and 8, that's because we understand most family-run or small businesses will always fall between the first 2 categories, an EME or a QSE. But regardless of that, what you want to achieve is the contribution that you are giving to your own company. Remember, the entire structure of broad-based Black economic empowerment is there to essentially build your company. And a stronger company will lead to a stronger economy. So step number 1 is to select a reputable BBBEE verification agency. Find out what is the classification that you will need to achieve within your company and where do you sit within those different classes. Then start your compliance steps. Ensure that you get the correct accreditation and finally get compliant. And once you are compliant, the benefits will start being visible immediately. But this was just an introduction to BEE awareness and BEE compliance and understanding where BEE sits in terms of legislation. There is a lot more we can discuss with you. What we would like to do then is to say to you that we are here to assist with any questions you might have within your industry and speaking to you as IOPSA members, understanding what you need to do now, how much more information you need. All of this and more can be answered, so please drop us a mail at bee@ihssolutions.co.za or give us a call on our website and we will definitely try to assist you. Get a hold of IOPSA and they will forward this information to us. There are many different ways to understand BEE, and we can assist you to taking your first step to compliance. So we thank you for listening to this short and practical awareness program for BEE, and we look forward to discussing a lot more with you during the coming year. So once again, from IOPSA as well as IHS Solutions, have a fantastic month, and we look forward to seeing you next month with the next part of BEE awareness.